Hello, and welcome back to the Pedrozatravel channel. We are once again in Puebla, Mexico. This is kind of a part 2 video because in the last video we were in Puebla, but we were on a double-decker bus. But in this video we are walking on foot. But don't worry, if you didn't see that video, I think I will link that in the video description below, so you don't need it really for this video. We are going to take you to Puebla, Mexico, which if you were an American, you probably celebrated this town and didn't even know that you were celebrating this town. Puebla, Mexico is where Cinco de Mayo started. We might get into that in this video, but maybe not. But just know that Cinco de Mayo and Puebla go together. This video is going to show you random places in Puebla on foot. We are in an interesting spot because Puebla, Mexico is on the Mexican tourist trail, but not on the foreigner tourist trail. For many foreigners, this Mexico you have never seen. But in my opinion, you really need to see this part of Mexico. In our last video, we ended at this building called the House of Dolls, La Casa de los Muñecas. We explained that the house was built in 1792 by the mayor of Puebla. His name was Agustin. But the viceroy did not like that the building was bigger than the state palace, so the viceroy made Agustin's life miserable. But he did not back down. He took revenge by putting up big mosaics of these horrible looking figures, and the faces were the viceroy's leaders, and he made them all stare for eternity at the state palace, which I think is hilarious. Today, that building is the University Museum, and it just so happens that on the day that we were there, it was free, so let's go take a look inside. The inside of this building is just as stunning as the outside. Everywhere there is beautiful courtyards and embellishments. The first floor was dedicated to the history of science, and it talked about the research of a bunch of early scientists.
This building, this was for measuring your brain. Basically, it was to give you shock therapy.
It is interesting to see how science has changed. I am very glad I never needed to get my brain zapped.
Very early medicine kits here. Huh. Oh, and these are mummies from Guanajuato. I recognize these mummies. And a mummy head. Ooh, shrunken heads. That's pretty crazy. A very early x-ray machine from the 1900s, early 1900s here.
In the next room, we found a bunch of miniatures.
Inside of the church.
Again, I've got like a pretty bad reflection here.
After the miniatures, there was a hands-on exhibition where you could learn about printing with wood carving. They gave you these wood cutouts and you had to ink them and press them into pieces of paper. Denise ended up making a printout of some birds flying over mushrooms. It was very looking to me. Fittingly, upstairs they had a display of a bunch of older printers.
Old carbon copy machines that always turned out purple.
Oh yes, for sure, the mimeograph machines.
Mm-hmm. And typewriters galore.
Yeah, lots more.
Oh, my dad had that same model of fax right there. That's funny.
Underwood typewriter.
The printing press. But this printing press, what it's doing,
Doesn't print letters or words.
makes lines like these. Or like these. You can set the
Make graph paper, make accounting paper, you know.
yeah.
Mathematicians, accountants.
Bunch of old music players.
This room had a bunch of old musical instruments, including a very early Edison gramophone.
And Mary looks a little bit sick.
The museum had a lot of religious art. I particularly liked the paintings of Jesus Christ and the apostles.
And the apostles
This guy with the
For the
floppy
Camino de
hat
Santiago.
is Saint James, the apostle.
with the scalloped
He was
hat
known
and
as the
stuff.
Pilgrim Apostle,
So you know who
and
he
many
is.
tried to copy his pilgrimage, what is today Spain, which is called the Camino de Santiago. This is not a painting, but it's a mosaic made of tropical feathers of Latin American birds. Very interesting art. We are getting a bit hungry, so we decided to go to McDonald's, which at first looks normal, but this McDonald's had a little bit of a twist to it.
At the Puebla McDonald's, and it has the best view outside. If I can just make this dark here, you'll see outside. You can see out to the letters and to the chapel. It's pretty cool. It's the main entrance to the cathedral, which we learned on the bus is larger than the Mexico City Cathedral. The rumor is that the architects liked Puebla better than Mexico City, so they switched plans. Or at least that's what the tour guide told us on the tour. Who knows if it's really true or not. But it is a very big building, built from the 1800s. Puebla's original name was Los Angeles, and so there are 58 angels around here, and they're all protecting the church, including this very modern one over here to the right. The main door of the church is open because the Pope declared 2025 a Jubilee. Yes. And so that's why the main door of the church is open right now. Usually you have to go on the side, but we're allowed to go in the main door right now. Which is interesting because it goes to the side here.
This grave is one of the first bishops in Puebla. Look at that date. It's 1765. That's 11 years before the United States became a country. This entire cathedral just has centuries of history all over the place. The organ has 3,376 pipes to it, and they call it the International Organ because its parts come from the United States, Germany, and Mexico. They started building the organ in the 1710s, and the organ you see today was finished in 1973. So that's 263 years to make an organ. That seems like a long time. The main altar is dedicated to Mary and the Immaculate Conception. There is a huge 2-meter tall bronze monument dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The monument literally weighs a ton and is covered by an 18-meter tall dome surrounded by 16 columns. It's huge. Now, if McDonald's is too lowbrow for you, you can go over to the Municipal Palace and go to a place called Mural de los Poblanos. According to the plaque, it was the very first time in 1821 Don Agustin de Iturbide, the first Mexican emperor, was served for the very first time chile en nogada. Not sure if that is true, but it is true that chile en nogada is the national dish of Mexico and is very traditional. If anything, you should go to this restaurant just to see the colorful murals. Many Mexican celebrities have been to this restaurant, and they have some very interesting artwork on the walls. The painting upstairs talks about the history of Puebla and how the Battle of the 5th of May went from being a significant event in Mexican history to a party day in the United States. The 5th of May was the battle where Mexico first defeated the French in battle. But if you go to Puebla today, you will see a lot of French influence. The Municipal Palace of Puebla was first built in 1536, but it has a very French style to it. This corridor is officially named the Town Hall Walkway, but is known to the people of Puebla as the French Way, due to its French stained glass and its French style lights. It's a beautiful place to walk both during the day and night. I suggest you check it out at both times of the day and see how it looks differently at different times of the day.
Yep.
This building was once home to General San Martin, who was very important because he was the general who defeated Spain and liberated South America. This chapel looks very plain on the outside, but it's kind of amazing on the inside. It is the convent of Santo Domingo. The Dominicans consider themselves the protectors of the dogma of the church. Dogma kind of sounds the same, so they adopted the dog as the clerical order mascot, and that is why in front of this church you see the dog statues. It's there to represent their ideal of protecting the dogma of the church. The outside of the Chapel of Santo Domingo is very plain, but the interior is not. The Dominicans made a lot of money in Mexico, especially during the years of the Inquisition. This church was built in 1640, and they spared no expense with this church, decorating it literally in a ton of gold leaf. Every side chapel altar in this church is decorated out in talavera tile and gold. But the crown jewel of the church is the Rococo chapel dedicated to Virgin Mary and her Ascension.
Piece of architecture, Rococo style. When people see this, they think that Mexicans are afraid of emptiness. Because they fill up any little single room, with a decoration. And there is Santo Domingo over there. And if you look over here, you see down below, at his right side, is a dog. Come over here. You see the dog there is a gray dog. And he has like a stick in the mouth. That stick is a torch. And that torch symbolizes faith. Because the Dominicans, they used to claim that they used to defend the faith of God like dogs. And in fact, they used to address themselves as Dominicans. Because Saint Dominic was the founder of his order. But in Latin, if you break the word Dominicanis, it means the dog of the Lord.
Also, that's where the country's name
Because they
came
used to claim they were like dogs of God to defend the faith. You see, because of the Inquisition.
So that's where the Republic of the Dominican got its name. The Dominican Republic got its name.
Pray the Holy Rosary. The Holy Rosary is the most common prayer in the Catholic Church. And the prayer consists to repeat the Hail Mary, like 10 times and then another 10 times until you accomplish like 150 times. I think that was copied from the Muslims. They just keep moving like this. I think the Catholic Church.
Now, before you go thinking Puebla is a city stuck in the past, you need to understand that while Puebla has a lot of history, this city is growing a lot. The center of the city is ancient, but the outside city is very modern. Skyscrapers and modern stores surround the city center. I was very impressed with their ring highway system. It reminded me a lot of the modern highways that I see back in California. Above the highway, you will see this white metal structure that goes throughout the entire city. They are bicycle highways, so people on bicycles can circulate the entire city without having to worry about getting hit by cars. This is a Liverpool at a mall. What is interesting to me is that stores that long ago died, like Sears, still have life here in Mexico.
Cuando vine no había esta autopista, una carretera normal.
Pues autopista me gusta mucho. At the Puebla LDS Temple. This temple was dedicated in 2024. So it's one of the church's newest temples here on the outskirts of Puebla. It's very nice. They have a lot of nice trees and it's well kept up here. I really like the lavender bushes that they have on the side. I'll turn around so that you can see those. You can see all the lavender bushes here. Lavender is very common around here. And the architecture is very nice.
In the nighttime, it got a bit rainy, but that didn't stop us from trying out another important local food. You see, in the 1940s and the 1950s, a lot of Arabic people, specifically from Lebanon, came to Mexico and they settled in Puebla. And so there is a specific type of taco called tacos árabes, and we had to try them.
I got them with cheese, and the story behind this is they're thicker tortillas because they were developed by the Lebanese who came, and they have pork meat, and they used to use lamb. And then Denise got gringas.
A gringa, which is like 2 tacos and then
Cheese.
cheese, and I thought I saw pineapple, piña on the
Yeah,
list.
pineapple is in there too.
Yeah, meat, cheese, and meat, and pineapple.
Well, that's going to do it for this tour of Puebla, Mexico. I hope you learned a little bit more about this city. It is a city that is not very well known to a lot of Northern Americans, but it's a very integral part of Mexico. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please stay curious, and we will see you on the next video.
See.